What's up guys, Syiler here, and I am back with another video, and this time we're on the Battle for Azeroth Alpha, and someone out there took Syiler and Psyduck, which I find a little bit weird. I think that was someone targeting me specifically, as the names are kind of a little bit unique, not many people have them, especially the way I spell Psyduck too. So if that was you, you're a mean person. But anyway, we had to go with one of my alternative names. And in this video, I wanted to talk about Enhance, the changes, the talents, and just my general thoughts on it right now, and kind of how I'd like to see it moving forward. So first of all, we'll take a look at the spellbook, and there's some changes in here, not a crazy amount just yet, but we are seeing some change. First of all, Bloodlust and Feral Spirits both now have a GCD, so it means when you use them, all your other spells are going to go on that global cooldown. Like that. So it is a little bit weird. I definitely would have liked to have seen Bloodlust stay off the GCD. I'm okay-ish with Feral Spirits going on the GCD because other classes and specs also have this now. A lot of their their cooldowns are now on the GCD as well. So it isn't just us who are targeted specifically, it's everyone else as well. If it was just us, then I'd have a problem. But as it's across the board, it's really whatever. It's just going to mean one extra spell on the start of a fight. Now the Bloodlust on the other hand, that is kind of like this raid utility cooldown, and I would have liked to have seen that off the GCD. The main reason is that whoever does it is going to have to give up a GCD at the start of the fight. So if that's a damage dealer, they're basically giving up a spell and everyone else benefits from it. So it's a little bit weird. I'm not truly happy with that, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Capacitated Totem is now baseline, so we're not going to have the choice between the Hex Totem and the Earthbind Totem, or Earthgrab Totem I should say. That's not going to be an option anymore, we're just going to have that Cap Totem. Also, we have seen the return of Tremor Totem. So if you remember this spell, you plop it down, it's going to remove those fears, the charms, the sleeps from you. Now I'm not too sure which iteration of Tremor Totem this is. There was the older version where you could use it while you were feared, and it would break the fear. I don't think that's going to be the case. It's probably the more skill-based one, where you need to do it preemptively when the fear is going to come out, and then it'll break the fear like in a pulse. And I'm pretty sure that's the version that we're looking at right now. So you're going to have to, use it wisely. Although if one of your party members or whatever are feared, you can just plop it down and it'll break it for them, that's fine. But it's just you specifically. If you're hit with a fear, you have to have that Tremor Totem down beforehand. Definitely welcoming totems back, as it just adds a bit more to the class. I don't want to just do damage, I'm a hybrid. And I really liked Mr. Pandaria Enhance, where I had the options of, doing really good damage, especially in Siege, but also putting out, those ancestral guidances, those healing tide totems, the healing streams, the healing rains. Like, I had a bunch of options to help the raid, and it was great. It felt good. It gave me a lot of different playstyles and ways of impacting a fight. And now I purely just pretty much do damage. So I'm not as much of a fan as that, and I definitely would welcome back totems. The other big change is Stormstrike. Surprisingly enough, Stormstrike is now nature damage. It's been physical for quite a while, and they've moved it over to be nature damage now, which makes a bit more sense. But it's quite nice because it's going to benefit from our mastery now. It's going to get that nature damage increase from the mastery, and it's also going to be buffed by some of our talents too. So yeah, Stormstrike is going to be more, and even more of a heavy hitting resource proc, which always sounds good to me. So outside of that, the only other change is Windfuria has been increased by 5% on its base proc. It used to be 20%, it is now 25 base. So we're going to have a little bit of a higher chance of getting those Windfuries. So that is it in terms of the spells. Next up, we're going to take a look at the talents, and I'll have an image on the right side so you can see the live talents. So you can compare them and see where things have moved to and how things have changed. But I'm purely just going to be looking at the newer talents, the things that have been added. And then you can kind of figure out where things have been moved and replaced or whatever. I probably will pick out some of the things that have been removed as well, but the things that have just been moved, I'm going to ignore. So Searing Soul, I believe this is one of our artifact traits right now. That's now become a talent. I'm using it at the moment. It seems okay. It does an okay-ish amount of damage. 1.4k isn't anything crazy, but it is just that dot damage, so you can kite and, make use of things like that. Hot Hand is going to remain the same. I've been tempted to use this for leveling though, as I have had a bit of Maelstrom issues with this preset gear. It isn't that great. It's all greens, not haste optimized or anything along those lines, so it isn't that great. Yes, I'm using the legendary gloves. Wouldn't recommend them for leveling, but I kind of miss them. I like having that proc every once in a while where you just kind of feel like a god for a little bit. So I've just been using them because I purely find them fun. I wouldn't recommend using these for leveling though when the expansion comes out. I doubt they're going to be the most optimal choice. And then Overcharge, obviously you remember this spell, it's currently in the talents, it's just been moved down to the 15 tier. In level 30 we have quite a new tier here. Previously this was a bit more kind of utility, now it's going to be more defensive. We have Spirit Wolf, which is going to transform us into a Ghost Wolf, giving us 5% increased movement speed and 5% damage reduction every second, stacking up to 4 times. So if you wait 4 seconds, you can have 20% movement speed and damage reduction. Quite nice. There's going to be quite a lot of use for this spell, even if it's just a 5% damage reduction. But if you know a big spell's coming, you have to get away from the boss or whatever. For example, the first boss in Antorus, the war mech thing, I never remember his name. If you're popping into Ghost Wolf, running away from him on Mythic, then you're going to be stacking up that 20% damage reduction and you're just not going to take anywhere near as much damage from it. So that's going to be quite nice in those kind of moments. Now they are kind of rare, but in moments where you can just kind of anticipate big hits like a Druid can, they pop into bear form, they reduce the damage, they pop back out, you're going to be able to use this in a very similar way. You're just not really going to get those higher stacks of the damage reduction, unfortunately. But still quite nice and could see some PvP use as well if you're kiting away. You're going to get that movement speed and the damage reduction to be healed back up. Is this their replacement for Shamanistic Rage? It does seem so, and personally I would just rather see Shamanistic Rage back so that I have those 2 different defensives that I can use when I need to. But I guess it's better than nothing. Eff Shield I've mainly been using for leveling, and you put it on yourself every time you get hit, you're going to use a charge and you're going to heal yourself a little bit. 300 health isn't that much, it's going to give us 2.7k-ish total. And I have 20k HP at the moment, so it's going to heal for about 10-15% of my HP, but considering I just plop it up, it's going to heal me naturally and I only have to put it up every once in a while, it's not too bad. It's felt nice for leveling. I wouldn't really use it at max level, you're not really going to see that much use from it, but for leveling it's been okay. And then Static Charge is kind of similar to the Warrior Shockwave talent. You put it down, you totem, and the more people the totem hits, the less the cooldown is going to be, so quite simple, quite straightforward, gives us a little bit more use on our static charge or on our capacity to totem. Going to be good for those like heavy AoE fights or these mythic dungeons or whatever. So 45 we see Landslide moved over here, and this has changed twice already. I'll talk about the old version in a minute, but it's now Rockbite has a 20% chance to increase the damage of your next Storm Strike within 10 seconds by 100%. So every once in a while we're going to get this really big hit in Storm Strike. Probably going to be the go-to talent for later on in the game, especially with Storm Strike now scaling with Mastery as well, and the Rockbite scaling with Haste. We're just going to get this proc quite often, and it's going to be doing a lot of damage, so it's probably going to be the go-to for max level. Hailstorm remains the same, has been moved down to 45. Lightning Shield is new, well, newish. It's been remade to be melee attackers have a chance to suffer 200 nature damage and add a charge to your shield. When you Storm Strike, it gains 2 charges. At 15 charges, the shield discharges and forms a lightning feral spirit to fight for you for 15 seconds. And this is a true feral spirit as well. It's going to be doing that maelstrom generation, it's going to be doing some damage, so it's quite nice to have. I'm getting it up every kind of 20-ish seconds with the right kind of string of procs. And it's felt really good for Maelstrom generation. It's felt quite nice with leveling because these mobs are hitting me, they're taking a bit of damage, they're giving me a charge, and I'm bringing up the charges quite quickly as well. And then I'm getting a Feral Spirit, which is going to be doing more damage, helping me do more damage as well, because I'm getting more Maelstrom. It's just felt really nice for leveling. Whether we'll use this at max level, I don't know, but I quite like the way this talent's going at the moment, and hopefully they can kind of, balance it enough that it's pretty good at max level, but isn't too strong, as I would like the option of, being able to use this in certain situations. Level 60 we have Boulder Fist moved down from level 100. It's going to do the same as always, so I'm going to ignore that for now. Forceful Winds, I should say. This was Windfuria Totem, I think it was called, and has been replaced by Forceful Winds, which Windfuria attunes your weapon to nearby winds, causing each successful Windfuria attack within 15 seconds to increase the damage of Windfuria by 100%, and the Maelstrom generation by 1, stacking up to 5 times. So the actual Windfuria damage stacks 5 times as well. So you can get a 500% Windfuria damage, you can get those 5 Maelstrom stacks as well. It's quite nice, and with the increased chance of proccing Windfuria now as well, this is probably going to be potentially what we use, because 500% extra damage is quite a lot. So not a bad talent at all. Obviously not very good for leveling though, I was just kind of checking it out. but you just can't keep up the stacks because the mobs die too quick and you run into between mobs. But somewhere where you could keep this up quite quite long, then it's probably going to be quite good. Maybe not in Mythic Plus, but for raids, these longer fights, it might be quite nice, especially where you're not going to have to run away from the boss and lose the stacks. Totem Mastery. This was level 15, but it's now in level 60. You drop it, you can generate 1 Maelstrom every second. You get the 5% base Storm Strike damage, you're going to get the 5% Lava Lash damage, and you're going to get a 5% increased chance to proc Windfuria. So it's going to take us to a 30% base chance. Quite nice, you just plop these totems down, they all go down at once, and they're all going to give you these 4 buffs. And I'm actually going to put this on to show you. We get those nice totem buffs. Doesn't that make you feel great? Look at those icons. So we're going to get the old school looking icons too. Next up, 75, we see the return of Ancestral Guidance. Great to see, although it is in the same tier as our mobility cooldowns. A little bit sad to see, but at least it just gives us this option of having 2 defensive type cooldowns if we want it. But we would have to pick this over Feral Lunge or Windrush Totem. Although it's still nice to have, I'm glad to see it back in some way, shape or form. It doesn't feel that great right now. I've been using it and I don't really feel the healing from it like I did in Mr. Pandaria. But it's still okay, and it's probably going to get better once I get better gear and things like that. Feral Lunge, same as always. Windrush Totem, same as always also. The level 90 tier remains pretty much the same. We've still got Crashing Storm, Fury of Air, and Sundering. The level 100 tier has seen a little bit of change with Elemental Spirits. This is replaced in Boulder Fist here, and we'll get a reduced cooldown on Feral Spirits by 30 seconds, and causes your Feral Spirits to be imbued with Fire, Frost, and Lightning, or Lightning, enhancing your abilities. So this is going to be our Doom Wolves, is it called, from the artifact weapon? So we're basically getting that as a talent now. I don't think this is really going to be used though, as it's honestly just empowering a cooldown that we already have. I'd rather have more access to different cooldowns because we only have one cooldown as it is. So I don't really see this being much use, but it does reduce the cooldown by 30 seconds, that's 1/4. So it's not too bad. It might see use, I just don't really see it, especially with Earth and Spike now giving us that 20% physical and nature damage that's going to be buffing our well, actually I already buffed Storm Strike, but it's going to be giving us, that nice little bit of damage on our Storm Strike. And now that Storm Strike does scale from nature damage, we're going to get our Mastery and this, combining together, and it's going to give us those really heavy hitting Storm Strikes, which is quite nice. So that is the talents, and we do see some quite useful new ones, and I will quickly show you the Lightning Shield one as well. This is the only one that has really a graphic to it, so it's all we can show off right now. We're gonna get the proc on the go, so we have 10 stacks right now. The next one of these should give us the proc. If this guy can hit me. Come on. Proc it. Proc the shield. Alright, we're just gonna proc off that guy. So we're gonna get the Feral Spirit spawn, and if we watch it, it's gonna give us a good amount of Maelstrom generation. You can see a Maelstrom just ticking up. And it's doing okay damage. Nothing insane, but it's doing about 400-500 damage hits. And it procs fairly often while leveling. So I quite like that talent. Overall, I think they're doing some things right at the moment. They recently buffed for Elemental Spirits already. They added the 30-second cooldown to it. They changed Windfuria Totem, which was kind of experimental. Windfuria Totem was previously enhanced the next 20 auto attacks of your allies within 20 yards to deal an additional X amount of attack power, physical damage to the target. But it felt kind of weird. I tried it out in a dungeon and in a, just soloing, leveling, and I couldn't really get it to use all the charges while leveling, as I'd put it down, kill like 2 or 3 mobs, and I'd still have some charges left. And I tried it in a dungeon, and it just didn't really feel very impactful. It felt like I could probably do more damage with just a solo talent, so didn't really feel much of it. So they've changed that obviously to the Forceful Winds, which is going to give us that quite high single target long duration fight damage. They've also changed Landslide a couple of times. Landslide previously increases your Fire, Frost and Nature damage by 10% for 10 seconds. That felt a bit too good though, honestly. Like, with our Storm Strike already getting all these different buffs to it, an extra 10% on top as well just seemed a little bit too silly, and it's going to be doing quite a lot for us, that one talent. So they changed that to be just specifically Storm Strike instead of it buffing our like not Windfuria, but Lava Lash and all these other spells. And obviously they changed Lightning Shield, and they've been swapping around quite a few of our talents recently too. So for once we're seeing quite active changes, and hopefully that means we'll end up in a pretty good spot. So I'm feeling quite confident overall in how Enhance is going to turn out. The main thing I'd like to see is either a new defensive cooldown or a new offensive cooldown. It'd be quite nice to have an extra spell to pop, especially now that we've lost Doom Winds too. All we really have is our Feral Spirits as a cooldown, and it feels kind of weird, just one cooldown that we can use to kind of do this damage. I'd rather have something we can kind of, use at separate times, stagger our cooldowns, or combine them together for that big, chunk of burst that we're kind of used to as Enhanced Shaman. I would also like to see a bit more utility, as I mentioned before, these healing streams, healing tides, healing rain, make healing rain baseline or something, and, keep it instant cast or whatever you want to do there. But it would be nice just to have a little bit of extra utility that we can help with the raid with, and I wouldn't say no to that. But overall, that is a look at Enhanced Shaman. Let me know if there's anything you feel like should change with Enhance, maybe something I've not thought of that could be quite cool, anything you don't like about these changes, and yeah, we'll hopefully continue providing feedback and end up in a pretty good spot with Enhance, and it'll hopefully be something I want to play when we do get to the end of Battle for Azeroth, because it's always the thing I go back to, and I would really love for it to be in a good spot from the get-go. I'm not on about huge damage, but just enjoyability. That's the main thing I want from Enhance. So, thanks for watching guys, look out for more videos coming soon. See ya!